is very, very, very smoky. And on a still day like today, you can see the amount of smoke provided. Imagine this is a damp day. If this is a damp day, then it hangs even worse. In fact, we've had events before where we've actually had to march forward out of the smoke because you simply cannot see what's going on. The Confederacy would go on to win most of the earlier battles, and that was a good volley, wasn't it? 2 cannon volley. They would go on to win most of the early battles, and the Union would go home in disgrace, and they began to lose popularity very quickly. By the time they get to the really scruffy battle at Antietam, even though it's a Union battle, usually a Union win, even though it's completely a Union win, most public... Did we have a smoke ring there? Yes. Yeah, well you can see just how much air is being pushed out of these barrels, can't you? Sorry, I was watching something else. Somebody was... I thought you were telling me there was a safety concern there. No, I was watching something else. I missed that one, but we do get some good smoke rings out of these things. Union public opinion was no longer liking the war. And it got even worse after that, because the Confederacy, there'd be a battle and nobody would fight. The Confederacy was using this to advantage. When Ulysses S. Grant came into power, there, look, that's a good one. Still not dissipated, that one. Oh, now it's gone. Grant stopped messing about, and instead of doing this battle and then losing and sitting back for a little while, Grant just attacked and attacked and attacked. He lost thousands and thousands and thousands of men, but he didn't care. He just kept attacking and attacking and attacking. Even though he lost every battle on his way up the Potomac, he lost every one. He got to a point where they ran out of men and he didn't, and that was it, the war was over. So that's how this thing ends. So it's not pretty. Now you can see that as the war goes on, the soldiers also don't like doing things like standing up in front of the enemy. So one of the things they learn to do is what our sergeant here at the front is doing, which is to learn to load, crouch down. He's a smaller target. He's making himself less accessible to be shot by those guys. Now some of the Union guys, they're not here today, I think there's one here today, begin to get breech-loading rifles. But when they arrive, they learn to lay down. In fact, he's going to, I think, actually fire his gun and then load laid down. Oh, and it looks like the Confederates have actually scored a hit on this regiment here. So the sergeant here is, I thought he was going to lay down and load that then, but now he's going to do it kneeling down again. Sadly though, this has an adverse effect. Even though he's kneeling down and is less of a target, it's not as easy to do kneeling down, and therefore it takes him longer, which means that he doesn't fire as much. Now here's our gentleman with the breech-loading rifle. See, he doesn't have to do this. He can actually just put the round right in the back of the gun. However, the Union Army didn't want to pay for this gun because it cost nearly $50, whereas those rifles were costing $13. And they also thought that if you made it so that the men could fire faster, they would just blitz through all their ammunition. And of course, this means also, just like our sharpshooter here has done it when it works, oh, misfire, double misfire. But he can actually load and fire laid down, and his rate of fire with practice can be up to 7 rounds a minute. You see, he can actually stay laid down and load and fire laid down, unlike this gentleman here, who is going to struggle to do so. and he's effectively